Big old Texas is back, boys. Buggity, buggity, buggity. Yeah! Y'all better lasso them up. Put your cowboy hats on, strap up your boots, boys. We're going to have ourselves a show. Oh, I love it here. I love it here. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. Happy Monday to all of you. And of course, as you can tell by the theme of the show, Big Texas is back, boys and girls. Joe Hamilton, the recruiting guru. Ladies and gentlemen, back in the saddle. Billy Napier said, no. Bring my boy back from Texas and let's get it and let's go. Good to see you, boys. Happy to have you back on this beautiful Monday afternoon. We got a jam-packed show on this little Monday. Look, these Mondays, the channel's about to ramp up. Okay, we're back. We're in full swing here. I gotta get in the rhythm. I gotta get my my endurance back up. Almost a show every single day. Full throttle. Let's get into it. It's football season. Joe Hamilton talk, NIL talk, interesting stuff. Give my thoughts and opinions. Got a new game show coming up in. Who's more likely to? You know what I'm saying? That's what we're going to be rocking with. And then some recruiting stuff as well. Nothing crazy. Obviously, for now, Brown committed yesterday, which was fantastic news. 5-star wide receiver. Absolutely electric. Zach Abelverde from On 3. Directed and shot and produced. I think he even may even starred in it. Not quite sure on that one. Basically, he was like Quentin Tarantino, a little bit of Martin Scorsese in there. It was fantastic. It had me through all kinds of emotions watching yesterday. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But smash the like button. Good to see you. And we got to talk about Cody cheating on NCAA college football, but we'll get into that. So Joe Hamilton, big-time recruit. We're also going to pull up a few tweets here in just a minute showing how big of a deal it was when he left back in February. But Joe Hamilton, part of the recruiting staff of Florida. Let me pull up the High Top Sports article by David Swalderquist today. So when Napier moved to Florida in 22, Hamilton followed suit. He initially served as a personal analyst for the defense. He was later promoted to the role of director of scouting and recruiting relations and NFL liaison. During his time at Florida, Hamilton played at a pivotal role in securing top recruits, including 5-star quarterback DJ Lagway was his most notable recruiting class. But he was scooped up by A&M. Obviously, they made a bunch of changes out there, throwing a lot of things, making a lot of big movements, big splashes happen. And when it happened, we as Florida felt like we couldn't, again, we were in that little rut of taking 2 steps back and 47 steep, 2 steps forward and 47 steps backwards, right? So that's kind of where the Hamilton news dropped right after the Jay Bateman saga happened as well. Was not a good going. And again, a lot of the players kind of felt it on their chest. I think a lot of players took to social media when this happened of like, man, this is a tough one. Great relationships that were built here, part of that recruiting staff. And coincidentally, since he left, our recruiting class has been abysmal. Is there a correlation? I don't know. But he basically was back this weekend. We land Vernell Brown. I'm not saying they're connected, but it feels pretty damn good. Feels pretty damn good to have him back. Again, people aren't going to run to the new rivalry with A&M is real. You're 100% right, Muddy. It was already personal with just the players that went over there. Then this happened. It's definitely a back and forth happening here. But the energy that for him coming back was not received. It may have been, but I don't think it was received the same way. Adam Friedman down there in the bottom right says Texas A&M made a great hire in hiring Joe Hamilton from Florida, according to Marshall Rivals. I looked up Adam Friedman, didn't say a word today about Florida bringing him back. Very interesting there. You think we have the same kind of energy. Brandon Howard, sources, Florida obviously going to be losing Joe Hamilton. Hamilton played a major role in Florida recruiting success and also helped Louisiana to the number 1 recruiting class in the Sun Belt Conference 3 years in a row. Texas A&M hiring, blah, 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 recruiting, big source tells, huge part of UF recruiting for the last 2 years. So was a huge thing when he went to Texas A&M. People love A&M. People love to hype that thing up. So, again, the same energy for us Florida fans. We know what we're getting back with Joe Hamilton. Very ecstatic to have him back on the field. Again, I kind of told you some news was coming. We kind of heard this murmur happening for a couple of months now. Feels good that it's now official and that it has been established here. But yeah, felt good again. We knew it was I heard the noise. I told you guys some news was coming. Not like a big kind of knock you off your feet kind of thing, but going back to that everyday piece. You know what I thought about too, because everyone's like, why the move? The move it is strange, right? You take a leap to Texas A&M, you come back. It gave me the vibe, the same kind of vibe these recruits are having, right? We kind of lay out the land. Billy doesn't seem to really oversell. He's not going to outreach, not going to outbid anybody. Here's what it is. The grass is green here. People always think it's greener on the other side, recruits included. They get there, overpromised. That school may be underdelivered. It's not what I thought it was going to be. You got a place home for me in Big Texas back at Florida University? Absolutely, Joe. We welcome you with open arms. Come on in. It keeps happening. It keeps happening. We may swing on a recruit we might miss, and then he goes out there and he's like, you know what? Jameer Grimsley's like, this Bama thing ain't for me. Florida's where my heart is. DeAndre Robinson, Big Texas, although we got a little bit of Texas here, that ain't for me, right? So all these things, we keep seeing it happen. Again, this speaks to the culture that what Billy is building. Again, I know he's got to win football games. I get it. I understand those things. We're going to talk about that later on, too. I got a thought hypothesis. I was talking with one of my buddies today. Older gentleman. I like to call him old. Keeps him young. Fires him up a little bit. He's a big Georgia guy. But give you my thoughts about that at the end of the show. Remind me if I forget. So, got to pull the receipts up when you see these kind of things. A&M's Barstool, they were fired up about it when it happened originally. So, good stuff there. Good stuff. Good to see you, though, guys. 261 strong here. 7 minutes in. Love it. Good to see you. Happy to have it. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. I love it. I'm him says, okay, I have to know. I don't know what you have to know, but we'll see. Also, what broke today? Some NIL stuff. Some guys are tweeting it. How Lewis broke the news first. It was an Oklahoma Channel 4 news source. So, where the investigation behind this comes from, I think there's going to be probably some question marks. But I haven't seen anybody rebuttal these numbers here. Pretty cool stuff. You got to be excited if you're a Florida Gator all around. So this is the number of deals by colleges. So number of deals that the NIL is essentially getting. And this is something, again, I was just alluding to, right? About how things are being over-promised and under-delivered, where Florida seems to be delivering the way. Every time we've got the, Florida Victorious, anybody representing them on the show, they go, look, we don't have to sell it. The players will sell it themselves. Once they get them on here and they say, look, this is what they're doing for me, etc. Fantastic stuff. So number of deals, 498 total NIL deals. So this is them working some sort of negotiation for the players. 498 number of deals. That's not individuals, right? That's number of deals. So some players could hold two to three deals, right? And you could also have, I'm assuming, single deals as well. But this isn't broken down by just 498 individuals have a deal, right? Just 498 total deals. University of Texas, 367. Ohio State, 286. Oklahoma. It was from Oklahoma's Channel 4 News, so they're the one that wrote. That's why it's highlighted, 268. Sanford, 226. Kind of interesting there. Tennessee, 216. 207 for LSU. Penn State, 203. UCLA, 190. And Nebraska at 188, rounding out the top 10. So when you look at this list, you're like, well, this doesn't correlate with, who's recruiting well. So what does this mean? Well, again, it's number of deals. So this is across all platforms. Obviously, Florida does well in all sports: basketball, baseball, gymnastics, swim, soccer, what have you. We dominated golf. We dominated across the board. So it could be, obviously we're going to lead the way because of how many deals we do. Everyone's asking, well, how much of this is going to football? Ultimately, the big picture here is that the NIL, the Florida Victorious, those things are moving like they should be, the proper way, the way that this thing was built. The upfront money, which again, Texas is up there, Ohio State and Oklahoma, those schools are recruiting well. Where's the Georgias, the Bamas, right? Where are those guys at? And to be fair, we had our Georgia High Top show going. Our Georgia insider said, look, they and their business class, they've talked about their lack of NIL. So their presence in the NIL field isn't the greatest. So what are they doing to get it done? I don't know. I'm assuming there's obviously bags being paid, but they also own the luxury of winning, sort of like Bama, right? But it does kind of scratch your head a little bit if we're handing out the most number of deals, right? Now, it could maybe Georgia and Bama are at 150, and all 150 deals are all stacked in on football. it would be interesting to see how these numbers break out a little bit more. I think this article could possibly have some legs to show some more. I mean, if you got this information, I want to see this number broken out. I want to see who it's going to, how many. When you go on three, Dave shared it today on the Discord. When you go to on three, they'll kind of show like the NIL value for player. DJ Lagway is undisclosed, meaning that there's some cheddar behind that. So we'll see. Yeah, 498 deals are not all football. Look, this is not a football chart. This is a all around any sport chart. But as a Florida Gator, this still should excite you as the quality that is going to Florida and what the NIL Victorious, because they're associated with that. So hey, shout out to Florida Victorious. We love them over here on this channel. Do a lot of great things for us, allow for us to have fantastic interviews. So this, into my opinion, credits to them tenfold. And you got to think that as they continue to build, continue to grow, it should carry over to the recruiting. Again, I fully believe that upfront money, it's a different. There's two parts to this. You have the upfront money, which is before. Big spider on my lens, which is before the NIL deals come through, which become before the contracts, the Gatorade commercials, right? You can't promise those things. So you have to throw in a guaranteed deal. And I think that's where we may not have the same oomph behind it. That's where the Georgia and the Bamas come in. So their NIL may just be fronting money that isn't considered as a deal. It's just simply the overhead that's being paid. I don't know. In these other schools like the Nebraskas, the Penn State, Stanford, they don't have the money, right, to throw up front. So they've got to get more creative with those deals. Hence why you see them up in that upper echelon with landing big-time deals. They're probably doing it the right way as well, but they don't have. Now, Stanford has been landing some four-star studs as of late. So as is Nebraska. Bruins, I don't know if they recruit for football. So this could be for other sports. They do pretty well. So we'll see. That was an interesting chart. Figured we'd talk about it a little bit. See where we're going there with that. Hope you guys enjoyed that. So, the chat is always just, you guys are arguing with Georgia fans. We can't even have just a nice little Monday. You guys are unbelievable. Let's talk a little bit of recruiting intel here, boys. So we've got a couple big names happening this weekend. Lagonza Hayward, I think 4-star cornerback or safety. Christian Gash, linebacker. Yeah, I think he's a safety. Linebacker. Both guys at one point felt like Gator shoo-ins. Christian Gash, Florida led the way for a very long time, top-tier linebacker alongside Hayward. I know at one point, on our insider connections, it felt like it was, we felt positive about Hayward. Like we were like, hey, should we make a video? Waiting on it, sleeping on it. We'll get back to you. Now it looks like Tennessee leads the way for both of these guys. So we'll see. Ben Hanks, Wilt Fong dropped his little feeling about it. Ben Hanks, Ty Jackson being the number one linebacker in this class, currently leading the way is Alabama, but Florida's still in a very good place. Again, the ultimate thing is that they want to see Florida and what they do on the football field. So Vernell Brown, I think, was a big piece this weekend for the recruiting class, but I think the message stays the same. We talked about Juicy July being like Jello July, and then people say, well, maybe we'll have an amazing August. Look, maybe an amazing August, but August 31st is when really things get going. So September, maybe a sexy September. I'm down with that. You know what I mean? I'm down with a little sexy September. I can get behind that. That's something I can support. So maybe we do well. We get some W's under our belt. Maybe September gets a little sexy and we start flipping some guys. So look, we're gonna be sitting in the same boat we've been sitting in, boys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we're gonna head into awesome August. We're sitting 31st and on 3, and somebody made a comment which I liked it a lot. Reminder: 247 and on 3, how they value their class is much different. 247 looks at a quantity level, so we rank 62nd, I believe, in 247 because of just sheer quantity. We don't match up for the total points. On 3 looks at quality. So if you got 3 guys, right, you could be pretty high up there. I think they kind of take that into consideration too. We rank 31st on 3. Again, because of the quality of the class is still there, although the quantity is not there yet. So that should make you feel so-so. I wouldn't say great. I wouldn't say ecstatic. I wouldn't say fantastic. I would say, okay, not horrible, not great. Still a long way to go. There's no sugarcoating this. We all know that. And like I said before, if we've got to sacrifice a class to get to win 9 and 10 games, shoot it. Shoot it. Murder that bad boy. So I think all those happened this weekend. We'll probably be doing a little watch party for Christian Gass and Hayward if we have the time come Saturday. So Gass committed to Tennessee. That's already done. Christian Gass did commit to Tennessee. You're right. I do apologize. So Hayward's set this weekend, and Tennessee leads the way. So now again, Ty Jackson, number one linebacker. You would like to get multiple linebackers. So just because if we do land Ty, it doesn't justify us losing Christian Gass either. But all in all, a lot of moving pieces there in the recruiting cycle. We've got a big barbecue weekend coming up. Typically, this barbecue weekend would always happen after Friday Night Lights, but Friday Night Lights was extremely early this year. It also was an extremely different landscape than what we're used to. And I was wondering, they did have a barbecue-esque type afterwards. Stephen Harris went to it, but it was more of a team event than what this is intended to be. This barbecue this weekend, which is all about recruits and what's going on. So we'll know more about that on Wednesday. Who's going to be there, the list, what it looks like. I imagine it's going to look a little bit different again because in years past it's always followed Friday Night Lights, and so maybe it's lost. Kids are tired. I don't know. I'm excited that the entire focus. It's another recruiting weekend that's not a non-official weekend. So take that into consideration on what you will, how they'll play into it. Again, Joe Hamilton's back. Maybe he can go in there, drop his big Texas in there, see what's going on, and dial it up in there. So we'll see how all that plays out. Before we get into the last little bit here of tonight's show, which is it's a fun little debate. We'll get the chat's opinion. I'll talk to you guys about it. I saw this drop today, and I tweeted out, man. So Connor Stallions, guy who was cheating, stealing signs from Michigan. Netflix is releasing a documentary featuring Connor Stallions called Sign Stealer. Shares his side of Michigan's alleged sign stealing scheme that turned him into a viral villain. Like we're living in a fake world. Like we like as a kid, you live for this shit. You know what I mean? Like this is like your typical just like reality TV show. Like we get all the answers now because everybody wants a buck. And we're all going to watch. We're all going to tune in. Crazy timing. Crazy timing. It comes out August 27th. I was like, the foreplay leading up to the season has been impeccable. The release of college football, the anticipation for the college football playoffs, the anticipation for the realignment of the SEC and the Big Ten. I mean, you want to talk about a build-up like nobody's business. This thing is going to explode this year. And now we've got this right before we kind of just tip it off. Could this open up a whole new can of worms for next season? I don't know. Could it just be a fluff piece? Who knows? Who knows? Is anybody going to believe a word this guy says? Who knows? The only way that people believe him is if he just completely thrashes Harbaugh in Michigan. That's the only way that anybody believes him. If he comes out and defends Harbaugh, everyone's going to call it a jack-off piece and we're going to move on. You know what I mean? So it's wild. All right, before we head into the last little bit, two things I want to go over. Cody cheating at college football, and then Billy Napier. So I was talking about my buddy, my old friend of mine, about Napier and stuff. And you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, which you do. I don't have to usually justify you telling you this. And look, I'll be perfectly honest with you, bros. I'm in the honeymoon stage. We've talked about this before. We're past the ebbs and flows, the hot, dark summers. We're right here at tip of your tongue, where you as a fan of, regardless of your team, I don't care if you cheer for Vandy or Georgia, Michigan, you believe right now, especially if you're a Vandy, we've got a chance to shock the world. We've got a chance to go 12-0. Every college football team should feel like that right now. Because why else would you feel any other way? That's where everybody's at. So keep that in mind for this next part. Like that's where my head's at. Like I'm planning my trip for the playoffs. I'm telling the wife, like, hey, we've got to get the logistics set up. Like, that's where my head's at. All right? I'm not telling you it's in a healthy mind space. I'm just being honest. I was like, man, if we look at this team, he's like, how do you feel? You look at this team. Got Graham Mertz, arguably top quarterback in the SEC, top quarterback in the country. Napier said it all SEC media day. I was like, you damn right, Billy. That's the best in the country, Billy. Let him know, baby. People were saying if Graham was playing for a different football team, different conversation, different argument, like, this guy's going to be him. I was like, let's take it one step further. This isn't me hating on Billy. This is me understanding the reality of the situation. You take Florida Gators football team, talent, returning production, Graham Mertz, Eugene Wilson, Badger, Montrell Johnson, a lot of experience, the new experience coming in on defense, the stick defensive line, right? The excitement behind the middle linebacker room, the depth at cornerback. You're like, this team's got something here, right? The speed at wide receiver is at an all-time high. Let's just pluck Billy out of the equation for just hear me out. Just throw him to the woods. I don't want to do this. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. And you pluck, I don't know, little Kirby in the action. Okay? You put Kirby into this formula, the conversation is much different, right? My reason for that, look, and I understand that, like that's Kirby versus Billy Napier. Kirby's got, he's done a lot of great things. That's my point, is that this team has the pieces to get it done. The issue is, and I'm not saying that they're wrong for this, the issue is the belief in Billy is just not there. You felt it this weekend at SEC Media Day, just getting right above Vandy and a few other, I think like 11th, they ranked us for finishing the SEC. Somehow Vandy got a one vote to win the SEC championship. I think they got 1 or 2 last year. Kind of weird. South Carolina got 2. Whatever. Georgia swept the floor with like 167, then Texas. But if you move those things around, you got to believe that the faith in this Florida football team is much greater. I really do. And look, again, what am I saying here? I don't know. I just think that just shows you that the experts are that against Billy. And look, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out how right they are, right? Which is wild. But it just got me thinking, right? You put somebody else in the captaincy. I think the overall feeling headed into the season is much different. Again, a lot of us are optimistic, but you saw the Florida fans that are very hesitant. I'm not saying that anybody's wrong for the way they're feeling, but I just kind of thought about this team's good. This team has a lot of potential, even with the schedule, the logo fever schedule. We'll see. Y'all want a good laugh? Go watch RJ Young's podcast and Billy Napier. Guy said Burch was one of the worst quarterbacks in country last year. Clearly didn't watch any games. Who's RJ Young? Not seeing your point, Ronnie B. Maybe I don't have a point, My point was just to basically say, like, this team is talented. This team's got a lot of potential to do great things. I believe Billy's the guy. I think the overall opinion and feeling is that he is not the guy, hence why the hype and the optimism from some Gator fans, most media is not there. But you put somebody that, if you were to plug in somebody else that has the backing, if you put the bore in, I think the excitement would be a lot more than what it is. I just think that's how down people are on Napier. Whether they're right or wrong, that part is yet to be seen, and that's what is exciting about this season. But I'm letting you. I think we should look. I guess I'm doubling down on the excitement for the season. That the talent is there, and if Billy is what he was advertised early on and what he kind of carries himself, I think it should be. I think it should be a good one. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. What do you guys argue about? Begging Megan just be coming here just stirring shit up, bro. Like, that guy's crazy. He's a Georgia guy, and I kind of respect him, but sometimes he just be shooting from the hip. Like, there's like a level of like actual conversation. But RJ Young has 100,000 subscribers. He runs a college football podcast and works for Fox. Well, good for him. Good for him. I thought that was a shot, Muddy. But we'll see. We'll see. Florida 52, Miami 14. We'll see. Last little bit, and then we'll hop into the game here. I don't know if you guys saw today, but they did the USA men's basketball team did a free throw contest, and this is going to circle back, so just stick with me here. They had to shoot with their non-dominant hand, right? So everyone's basically right-handed, so everyone has to shoot with their left hand, and then, right, like the non-dominant, whoever wins. Everyone's shooting with their left hand. LeBron gets up, and he says, I write with my left. So he shoots right-handed. However, for the last 20-plus years, he shot right-handed from the free throw line. But he was claiming that was his non-dominant hand because he writes left-handed. It's a fluke, right? Like, you're clearly cheating. Like, that's, like, you're blatantly cheating. The reason I bring that up is it reminded me of Cody this weekend. We played College Football 25 on the live stream. And I've been beating him every single time we played him. And then the next night he beats him he's leading by 40, like in the third quarter. And we had a lot of question marks. And this just reminded me of, Cody cheats. Just surrounded by cheaters. That was all I had for that. Let's do this, boys. Quick, fun little question. More likely to get over 1,000 yards, Eugene Wilson or Montrell Johnson? Interesting one there. Interesting one. Montrell had like 818 yards. Obviously, he had to split carries with Trevor Etienne. Eugene Wilson. What do we think? Did Ricky P hit it? I don't think Ricky P got it last year. I think he just missed it with his injury. I think he was just short of it, I believe. Yeah. I think Eugene has the potential to be better than Ricky P. I think we can argue, 965. 965. I'm going to go on the side that Eugene Wilson's more likely to get it. Both's a good one. My issue with Montrell is that, look, although we feel, hey, he's going to be the back, I just think Billy's still going to split the carries. He is going to utilize those three backs, whether it's Trayon, Ball, right? Any of those Daniels. They may not get the same as ETN, but equivalently, I think they're all three going to still take away that percentage. If they both hit 1,000, son. Another question, who's getting there faster? EFQID thinks it's a lock for both, but who gets it both? Look, I love that mentality. I think both is I think if both get it, I think that just tells you that this team is electric. We haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Kelvin Taylor. I don't know about passer or receiver. It's been a little bit, but I like Montrell. I like for Graham to throw for more, just short of 3,000 yards last year. Obviously didn't play the last game. I think he throws for over 3,000 again, he will likely to throw for over 3,000. Look, the O-line does what we are all anticipating it to do. You've got to think that both of these numbers are extremely reasonable to happen. Now, you got to always think, too, that there's those cupcake games in there that allow for some of those big yardage games that aren't going to be in there. You're going to be in some dog fights. So that plays a factor of it, too. Yeah, that's 125 a game. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I see Eugene. I think Eugene 125. I think he can cup 175, 150. I like who gets there first. That's it. Gators by 1,000. So most of the feelings both. I love it, guys. Almost 400 strong in here. Well, not 100 likes. Let's get there, boys and girls. Super chat $5 from Keenan Johnson says, "When are you playing NCAA again? Can I get a game?" Yeah, you 100% can get a game, Keenan. I don't have a time and date yet. Maybe Thursday or maybe Friday. We'll see. Blair says, "High Top is the best Gator podcast, period. Montrell, don't sleep on that ball running back. He's a beast. So many weapons." Thank you, Blair. I appreciate that. A lot of great company out there. Shout out to Allie Peak getting the old head ball coach on there, Steve Spurrier. I don't know when, but soon. She posted about it, so I have no idea what the date. She's over teasing us, but she's a beast getting the goat on there. So we'll see. So Terry Walter said, with this schedule, look, I think the schedule does play a factor, right? Yeah, Ricky was like 52 yards away. He was at 965. Brutal. But yeah, I think the schedule does play a factor on both guys hitting over 1,000, right? So Loose Asshole says that goes hard. $2. Thanks, Lou. Hawkins, I think he'll surprise a lot of people. A lot of talent in the wide receiver room, too, that could take away. So we'll see. Terry Waters still waiting on the cruise. I haven't seen much more of the cruise yet. I gotta look back into that for sure. Wilson gets 1,000 if he stays healthy. He dealt with some injuries last year. We had to take him out of the game a few times. Heatman says Eugene gets his 1,000 first. I think Eugene has to hit 1,000. Look, Montrell, I think for the Florida Gators to be successful and for them to be where we want them to be, you got to get 3 the ball, which would maybe, all-purpose yards. You got to think maybe easily over 1,000, right? Because you got to think he's gonna be utilizing the jet sweep a lot. So maybe there's a little bit higher number, but I think for the Gators to be as successful we want them to be, Eugene's got to be over 1,000 in my opinion first. But you could also argue that Montrell getting over 1,000 alludes to us controlling the game, which plays into Florida and to Billy's previous method of just kind of wear and tear and just bleeding them out and beating you down. So that's a good thing too. So maybe we like, what do we cheer for? Right? We cheer for all of it, but what do we have having first? This one's an easy one. I know where the chat's headed with this one, but I figured we have some fun with it. More likely to get over 3,000 yards. Heisman, Graham Mertz, or DJ Ugalali from FSU. It's a no-brainer. DJ's never even sniffed 3,000 yards. I think he had 26 or 27 last year at Oregon State. Graham obviously would have probably hit. He was pacing to hit 3,000, but gets hurt right before the FSU game. Towards the end of the other game as well. Jordan Travis was over 3,000 yards. Jordan Travis is a much better quarterback than DJU. The wide receiving core is much better than what it is going into this season. The offensive line, everything. I don't think DJ. I think it'd be surprising. Again, their schedule is very easy as well too. So we'll see how it plays out. Maybe who has more? It's got to be Mertz. I don't think DJ hits over 3,000. 28? 27 maybe? His completion rate's never been that great. Graham Mertz had a 73% completion rate. I think DJ had like 57. So yeah, Mertz without a doubt. I figured this was a bad chat to ask. I don't even know why I brought it up, but I figured it'd be fun to talk about it as well. So we'll see. Yeah, 100% Matthew Walker says DJ's not going to have Keon Coleman or Johnny Wilson. The wide receiver core that Jordan Travis was working with and Keon Coleman was insane. Jordan Travis, or Johnny Wilson, excuse me, wasn't that great. A huge disappointment in my opinion, but a lot of size, big target, definitely easy to throw at, hard to look at, right? Because it was just, I tried to tell Holly, like, I'm not hating it. He was awful. He was a complete waste of talent. I think he got drafted. I don't think he got drafted like super late. Now before, who got drafted first? Was it Ricky Pearsall or Keon Coleman? I always forget. Let's see here. Mertz will get 35 to 4,000. So 35, 35's got to be in reach, right? Because if you're on pace for 31 last year with, again, the schedule plays a huge factor. And this isn't me like kind of panicking, but you're not going to have teams, I wouldn't think, on this schedule. We put up almost 35 against LSU. We really didn't really blow Charlotte out by any stretch either. It wasn't like we were, taking these walk-on games and just putting up numbers. We were putting up numbers against South Carolina. We put up numbers against Mizzou. So we were putting up numbers against teams last year. I just don't see us. We got Texas, Georgia. Those teams are going to really. It's gonna be tough. But man, if Mertz puts up 35 on this schedule, boys, that's 10-2. I would be if we're not 10-2. Austin Armstrong's. If Graham Mertz throws for 3,500 yards, 25 plus touchdowns, and we're not 10-2. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what we would say. Austin's got to go. That would be the only explanation, right? Because Carson Beck threw for 35 and 26, I think, last year. Something like that. Jane Daniels, I think, threw for 4,000. They went 9-3. The defense got fired, right? I look up Carson Beck and his relationship with Cavender twins. Pops up. It has been confirmed in case anybody was stressing that. So you're welcome. 3,900 yards, and 24 touchdowns. Golly. And people are arguing with me that he's not. I saw people in my comment section saying that Stetson Bennett's better than Carson Beck. Like, how do you you automatically just you can't continue to have a conversation with that person. It's unfortunate, but that's where we stand. 3,900 yards from Carson Beck and not in the top 5 for voting for Heisman is just beyond me. 35, and they obviously lost one game, and that was to Alabama. I don't think Jalen Milroe had that many. Let's look what Quinn Ewers had. I can't remember what all these guys. Obviously, I think Quinn was invited to the Heisman, right? We know what they did. Lost one game, right? He threw for 34-22. Quinn Ewers threw for 34-22. Now, that team was really good. Obviously, defensively, it was fantastic. They had a fantastic running back core, which they still do. But you see what a quarterback with 35-22-6 with a 78.3 QBR. Stetson had an 89-point QBR. We saw what Texas did. Now, big schedule, things change, but 3,500 yards and 25 tutties from Graham Mertz. Muddy says we'll have a 4,000-yard season. 4,000-yard season. If we're talking about Graham Mertz having a 4,000-yard season, son. I gotta look something up here. Hold on. We're in it now. We're in the weeds now. This is why I love the after the fact. I'm looking somebody up. Not Tim Tebow. Not Tim Tebow. Kyle Trask threw for 42. 42 and 43 touchdowns. All right, yeah. Yeah, look, this man talking Mertz like he's Trask. That's what I was just thinking. I was like, damn, we talk about, but look, here's the thing. His junior year, he threw for 2,900 yards and 25 touchdowns. Mertz's junior year, he threw for 2,800 yards and missed a game in 11 games. Kyle Trask percentage was 66.9. Mertz was 73.9. Now, he had Kyle Pitts. We've got Eugene Wilson. Mr. Nobody says no way he does that. No way. If we were playing from behind, got to throw some trash yards to 4K. That's a lot of trash yards, though. It's a whole lot of trash yards. Whole lot of trash yards. So we're all agree over 33. Is that kind of like the boomer? Is that the floor for Mertz? $33. I think 33 is a number. Not gonna hit. Okay, Jim says not gonna hit 3,500 yards with mostly dink and dunk passes. We got to go deep. I think that's something they're going to work on. I agree. I don't think the same, but like he threw for 2,800 yards last year with dink and dunks. He has more time, right? Completion rate goes down to 69%. You throw a little more longer passes. I think we would take that. Interesting stuff. We'll see here. Matthew Horn, new to the chat, been watching the show well over a year. Hell of a job, week in and week out by High Top Sports Team. Go effing Gators. Well, Matthew, I thank you, man. I appreciate you for your support and tuning in. We love it here. We have a good time. Well, we try to, anyways. We don't know what we're doing, but we try to do the thing. You know what I'm saying? Super chat from David S. Here we go. I will never get over Trask losing the Heisman to Devontae freaking Smith, one of the worst Heisman winners of all time, and I stand by that 1,000%. We don't know. Woke up a beast, boys. Yeah, 4,200 yards, bro. 43 tutties. What a season by Trask, bro. I don't know. Devontae Smith's kind of nice, though, bro. That's good. Well, boys, that's all I got. I say all like this wasn't like an hour-long show. You know what I mean? But how much is Callaway calling? I think that plays a factor in it, too. Well, boys and girls, we're gonna end it like we started it. Big old Texas is back, boys. We're going to dial it up. Billy was rocking the cowboy hat, and Austin last week had me inspired to come on the show and just rally up the troops. I'm feeling it. I should have played the music the whole show. Could have just turned the act to Wayne a little bit. Just dialed it in. College football, EA Sports. We're going to be streaming it sometime this week. Make sure y'all guys tune in. I love y'all. Good to see you. Happy Monday. We'll see you on Wednesday live at 8:35. Buckle up. Giddy up. Buggity, buggity, buggity. Let's go racing, boys. I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace and love.